Today on Monkey Life. Concerns grow when vet Thazar examines a lump on the face of newly arrived pet trade marmoset, Jenny.
The mass is rather big. Now that lump, who knows where it is?
Paolo goes all out to impress the rest of the boys as the park forms its first ever woolly bachelor group.
These are potentially very dangerous introductions. I mean, in the end, we might end up having a few cuts and scrapes and fights.
And an experimental new enclosure means Bengal's slow loris Axel finally goes outside, but still doesn't know what time of day it is. Monkey World in Dorset, buried deep in the English countryside, is the largest sanctuary of its kind on the planet. The team, led by Dr. Alison Cronin, rescue and rehabilitate abused and unwanted primates from all over the world.
Everybody's well aware that they need to be looked after carefully. They should be okay.
The park provides a home for more than 260 monkeys and apes from 24 different species. It's been just over a week since the park welcomed its two newest arrivals, female marmosets Reggie and Jenny. Both are victims of the British pet trade, whose owners could no longer care for them. Reggie was in good health, but there were concerns for Jenny. She has a large lump in her mouth that needs investigating. The team suspect an infection and have been giving her antibiotics, but it's time for the local vet to take a look.
We really need to see what's going on inside the mouth, whether there's any teeth that need to be removed and deal with that infection. And then we can think about getting her some companionship.
She was really good.
Steph delivers Jenny in a specially designed anaesthetic box. Vet Thazar Sastre gets ready to check her over.
Right, so let's prepare the anesthesia first.
Over the past week, the care team have monitored Jenny closely, making sure she takes her medication, putting her on a healthy diet, and keeping an eye on the lump.
Okay, that's fine. And the swelling is definitely going down.
When she's chewing, you can still see something there, but when she's got her mouth closed, there's a faint lump, but it's not anywhere near as visible now as it was when she arrived.
Well, let's have a look. Let's see what we've got. Yeah, you are a little thin. That's it.
Once the anaesthetic has taken effect, Thazar gives Jenny a full examination.
She's very thin.
He wants to make sure there are no sinister masses elsewhere.
So there's no marmoset wasting syndrome here at all. That's fine, but it's very skinny.
Next, he takes a look inside her mouth.
The mass is rather big. Teeth are really bad, all of them. But I think the problem is not the teeth, is that lump, obviously. Now, that lump, who knows where it is?
Thazar is concerned. Jenny's teeth are rotten due to poor diet, but the lump could be something far more worrying.
That lump, I think I can remove it. But if it's malignant, it's gonna be in the maxilla. I would take it out and send it for biopsy. And see, obviously, providing the x-rays are not showing something horrible.
Thazar wants to take a series of x-rays to check the marmoset's bone density, but also to see if there are tumours elsewhere, which could indicate the lump is malignant and has spread.
So far, everything is fine, and the important thing is that I cannot see any secondaries. The bones, they look all right. See anything that's there? Right, okay, that's fine.
It's a glimmer of hope for the team. Next, he takes some bloods to be sent off for analysis and prepares to remove the lump.
Fortunately, it's not a difficult job, so it's going to take me 5 minutes, really, hopefully.
But it's not as straightforward as it appeared.
It's really hard, this.
The lump is firm and well-rooted in the jaw. Thazar can't remove it all, but manages to take a large piece to send to the lab to discover what sort of tumour he's dealing with.
So it's going to be pretty much a biopsy what we get. And if he's telling us that it's benign, then we can live with that.
He moves on to examine Jenny's rotten teeth and removes those he can.
Very good. Let's wake it up with the head down, eh?
Until the results come back, the team will have to put their plans for Jenny on hold.
Basically means she's not necessarily ready to throw into Marmoset introductions, because we kind of hope to introduce her to one or two of our other new girls. So it's going to be a case of really closely monitoring and just crossing our fingers and waiting for test results. So definitely not the simple operation we'd hoped it might be.
That's it, done. Let's put her back. You manage, Nick? Yeah.
The team will monitor Jenny as she begins to come round until she's recovered enough to go back to her house. Thazar is philosophical about the marmoset's chances.
It's a tumour, for sure. It's hard and there was no purulent material inside, so certainly it was a tumour. At least here she will have some treatment and we won't let her to suffer, that's for sure.
Jenny will be given pain relief and antibiotics for the next few days, while the team wait with everything crossed for the test results to come back. Breakfast at Sunny's capuchin enclosure is scaling new heights this morning. The primate care team have a mass of freshly cut hazel browse and are stringing it up high on the climbing frame, all the way to the top.
Can you put one on the bottom of that dangly bit?
They're also adding slices of fresh apple to the mix.
What we've decided to do is basically make fruit trees, so it simulates their natural feeding behaviour from the fruiting trees out in the wild. So we're using apple today, and we've basically just stuck it onto the bushes that are in their enclosure to provide some lower level feeding for some of the animals that have a few mobility issues. But we've also got some browse, some hazel browse that we've cut, and we've put it right up the top of the towers as well. So we've tried to spread it throughout the whole enclosure to make sure that everybody is able to get some of the food.
The challenging enrichment is something new for this group of capuchins, and for Donna and the team.
I actually haven't really done this enrichment to this extent in terms of putting the browse right at the tops of the towers. So I'm really excited to see who uses that and how well they can access the food, because some of it is quite difficult to get to. So they're going to have to, if the branches can't support their weight, they're going to have to try and pull them towards them so they can get the food. So yeah, hopefully it works.
The group of 22 are led by dominant male Sunny. He might not be the brightest capuchin, but he makes up for it in stature, and the females love him. All the group, apart from female Terry, who was rescued from the pet trade, came from a Chilean laboratory in 2008. They're mainly individuals who struggled in some of the park's more feisty groups, some mentally and others physically. The enclosure has been designed to push those who are more capable and, at the same time, assist those with more limited mobility. It's been built to make the most of the space, providing lots of different areas. Important for this group, who don't always get on. But all the capuchins are taking to today's task with relish. Robustus female Dot uses her core strength to reach out and prize an apple slice from a branch. Lizzie has headed high, but now she's there, she's not sure how to reach the tantalising treat. Time for Plan B. Expertly balancing on a narrow hose further down, and carefully selecting an apple slice. Female Scrapper finds some easy pickings and hurries off to eat the fruit in peace, away from the others. The females are enjoying their breakfast. In this group, they outnumber the boys.
There's only 2 males in the group, so the other one being Bruce. Sonny is probably the most impressive and in terms of looks, and he's the one that all of the females gravitate to. Unfortunately, he doesn't know how to mate, so the females do tend to go to Bruce after a little while. In terms of the females, there is also a very strict hierarchy. We've just had a bit of a switch, so the robustus, who are our wild-caught animals, used to rule the group. But now they're starting to age, they've kind of slipped a little bit. So we've got some of the other individuals, such as Scrapper, Tia, Veronica, that are kind of starting to take their place a little bit.
But no matter where they come in the pecking order, the whole group have risen to this morning's elevated challenge. It's tested their capabilities and provided a natural way of finding food, no matter what their age, mobility or background. With the recent settled weather, most of the park's primates are spending their time outside in their enclosures. But it's not just about relaxing in the warm sunshine. To keep them all in tip-top physical condition, they need to be active, and the primate care staff do their best to encourage this. Today, the park's squirrel monkeys are getting a medley of hanging enrichment. Steph is putting out cups filled with woodwool, concealing tasty mealworms. She's adding fruit kebabs, secured in hard-to-reach locations, and pieces of fabric tied and knotted with even more delicacies for the group to find.
We have to make sure we put food out in a multitude of places. You want to make it challenging for the young guys, but also have a few pieces that are a little bit easier to get to for the older ladies. Although I have to say that the 2 old girls, considering they are older, are actually pretty good mobility-wise. And Lucille, you would think, was a much, much younger monkey, the way that she throws herself at enrichment.
There are now 5 squirrel monkeys in the group. Sadly, Topsy passed away from old age a few weeks ago, leaving a mix of 2 boys and 3 girls. And they all love to hunt and forage for food. Lucille is getting stuck in. But with all the enrichment on offer, she's not sure what to try out first. No such problems for the 2 younger members, female Nueve and the energetic young male Lopez. These 2 are constantly on the go, especially when confronted with something exciting and new. The other male in the group is Logan. He's big and butch and likes to act as leader of the group. The problem is, in black-capped squirrel monkey society, it's the females who are dominant.
He'd like to think he's in charge, but I think secretly it's the ladies that are running the show at the moment. The 2 kids, Nueve and Lopez, I say kids, they are technically mature adults now, but no one's told them. So they are chaotic, they are always causing problems, running around, hyperactive, playing. The 2 other girls, Turby and Lucille, are older, so they take life at a bit more of a steady pace, although Lucille is very quick to jump into enrichment and things like that. But yeah, it's definitely the girls, I think, that rule the roost. It's just they let Logan pretend that he's actually in charge.
Steph is encouraged to see Turvy outside today, enjoying the enrichment. The elderly squirrel monkey was very close to her friend Topsy.
The 2 females had been here for years together. They were the same age, both little old ladies. But it's actually been really nice to see how close Turvy's become to Lucille since then. The 2 older ladies are kind of sticking together a little bit, so I've seen them this morning. Actually, they went back to bed together and had a lovely sort of cuddle session together. So she actually seems to be getting a lot closer to some of the others because of losing Topsy.
The group are thoroughly enjoying the day's enrichment. Squirrel monkeys have excellent hand-eye coordination, with forward-facing eyes just like humans. This gives them great depth perception, making hunting for insects easy. Keeping this group busy and occupied in a captive environment is a constant challenge, but one the care team relish. It's the start of a very busy few weeks for the woolly monkey team at the park. Plans have been set in motion and big changes are afoot for the 23 monkeys that make up the 3 woolly troops. Following the arrival of 10-year-old female Pichua from the Netherlands, who now has Isla as a temporary companion, the group's structure needs a rejig. It's a massive jigsaw puzzle, with the pieces not quite fitting together. The problem is, there are just too many male woolly monkeys.
We've got so many coming-of-age men in our woolly groups that we need to relieve the pressure. The one thing that we've learned about keeping healthy and happy groups of woolly monkeys is that social stress needs to be kept to a minimum in the captive situation. They have no way of getting away from each other, so when the houses become too crowded, especially with guys throwing their weight around, then something needs to be done in order to reduce that stress, and that means allowing some of the males to emigrate out of their natal group. So for the first time, we're starting a proper bachelor group here at the park.
Alison is aware of other primate parks with successful small bachelor groups and has decided to try a similar idea at Monkey World. The team has renovated an enclosure that used to house gibbons, adapting it to the needs of woolly monkeys. The previous residents, Jake and Zoe, have moved to the main gibbon complex. 4-year-old Carlos is brought across from Levar's group and is first to be released into the new house. He's still a youngster, and today will be a big deal for him. But he'll have the chance to settle before the arrival of resident number 2, Paolo. Paolo is 12 years old and a fully grown male. He's been leader of his group for a number of years. But recently, tensions have arisen with housemate Enzo, another adult male. The team have decided Paolo isn't the best choice as leader and might be better off away from the politics of a mixed-sex group. But the new plan is complex and challenging.
These are potentially very dangerous introductions. What we're relying upon is our knowledge of the individuals and the fact that on the whole, woolly monkeys are somewhat peaceful species of primate and hopefully will not turn on each other instantly. I mean, in the end, we might end up having a few cuts and scrapes and fights.
Both males are let into the playroom and, predictably, adult Paolo begins displaying, while youngster Carlos keeps his distance.
I'm hopeful. The woolly monkeys are reasonably peaceful and, generally speaking, don't want to tear each other up as much as other species of primate we have here at the park. So I'm hopeful that it'll reduce the stress all around the park and that we'll continue to have very healthy and happy woolly monkeys. So that'll be group number 4.
The pair will be given time to settle in before being joined by Manny and Claude, with the possibility of another young male from Chippy's group in the future. It's a crucial time for Monkey World's woolly monkeys, and, in particular, the males heading to the bachelor group. For the past few months, an exciting new building project has been going on at the park. The team are developing a new enclosure quite unlike any other at Monkey World. It's been specially designed for a very specific species, the Bengal slow loris.
It's very exciting and it's very experimental. Traditionally, loris are kept indoors in nocturnal houses, obviously because they're nocturnal, and our primate care staff want to be able to view them when they're awake, and we can't have primate care staff working here all through the night, so what we do traditionally is reverse their lighting. So we use a dim red light during our daytime, and then at their nighttime, we reverse things. So we have bright tube that come on, provide bright lights to make them go to sleep, and they feel that it's their daytime and therefore their bedtime.
The 6 lorises have only ever experienced indoor living conditions at the park. They're all Bengal slow lorises, and large enough in body size to cope with the British climate.
We feel that they'll be able to tolerate the temperatures that we have here in the UK much better than the smaller pygmy slow loris. They come from places like northern Vietnam and even up into India, where at night time the temperatures can go as low as freezing. So we're hoping that by providing them with a bit more of a natural enclosure. They're going to have those ranges in the temperature and also the humidity and just natural air and insects and natural plants, different environmental factors that they won't be able to do indoors. So we're really excited about it.
The enclosure has been covered with thick black mesh, allowing just enough sunshine through to mirror the dappled moonlight of their wild environment. And there are misting machines to help increase the moisture in the air, mimicking more tropical conditions. Once the new space has been tried and tested, the park's visitors will be able to see nocturnal animals for the first time.
It's completely new for Monkey World. We've never actually been able to show our visitors any of our nocturnal animals. We've only been working with Loris for a few years, and during that time we've had some exceptionally exciting stories, and so far the visitors haven't been able to share any of that or see any of that. So now, for the first time, they're actually going to be able to immerse themselves into a sort of twilight world and see some of these nocturnal primates at their best, acting naturally and behaving completely normally.
But before that can happen, the lorises need to see it for themselves. Primate care staff member Karen is going to encourage Axel and his partner Nikki to try it out first. But to reach the new outdoor enclosure, the pair will need to make their way along a darkened tunnel, and the species aren't known for being quick movers.
Obviously, up until this point, there's been a dead end at the end, so it might take them a while to realise that actually now it's open and it's got a big enclosure to go into. So we'll see how long it takes them, but fingers crossed they'll make it out today.
Axel and Nikki have had access to the tunnel for a few weeks in order to get used to it. But Karen may still need to be patient.
Come on, Axel, out you come!
It takes 2 hours before Axel finally makes it to the end, and realises it now opens out to something new and spacious. Surprisingly unperturbed, he's soon off exploring. It's amazing how quickly a slow loris can move when he wants to. There are all sorts of new smells and sounds to get used to, and a whole new expanse to explore. Plus, there's the added bonus of hidden insects and grubs in the foliage. Karen's only problem now is how on earth to persuade Axel back into the tunnel and the safety of the house. Patience will be needed, and possibly the lure of a tasty waxworm or two. Next time on Monkey Life, Alison takes the decision to temporarily close the park as a global pandemic takes hold.
Monkeys, apes, prosimians, great apes, human beings, all of us primates, and all of us being able to share viruses and disease. So I was concerned about all of those things.
And Orangutan Awan shows that, even in troubling times, youngsters will still do their best to find fun.